Good morning. My name is Mallory Magwood. I am a Bell South employee, and I'm also a member of the Telephone Pioneers, which is a volunteer organization for Bell South Telephone Company. I will be conducting an interview today with Carl Lee Sharp, who will be participating in the Veterans History Project. Um, this interview is taking place at Bell South Building, located at 1025 Lenox Park Boulevard on the fourth floor, Atlanta, Georgia. Today's date is Tuesday, June the 15th, 2000, 2004, and it is approximately 10:50 a.m. on this Tuesday morning. Uh, I will be interviewing again, like I said, Carl Lee Sharp. Lee was born on January the 4th, 1942. He currently resides at 3205 Pierce Court in Lithonia, Georgia, zip code 30038. Um, my first question for Lee. Lee, thank you for participating in this project.
Thank you, Mallory, for asking.
And I'll be asking you a few questions, and we'll just go right along, beginning with the interview.
Hmm.
First of all, I would like to know what was your rank of service, and what branch of service did you serve in?
Well, I served in the United States Air Force, and my ending rank was Airman Third Class. But first of all, Mallory, I just want to thank the Telephone Pioneers for allowing me this opportunity to participate and be a part of the Veterans History Project for the Library of Congress. And of course, as an African American, it has been an honor and a pleasure to share with everyone my comments, thoughts, and personal observations during my 4-year tour of duty as a member of the United States Air Force. And of course, serving gave me a sense of pride. And of course, I'm proud to be an American and even prouder to have served my country.
Well, it is my pleasure, Mr. Sharp, and thank you for volunteering for this project on
Hmm.
behalf of the Telephone Pioneers. Lee, were you drafted, or did you enlist in the service?
No, that's the thing about the Air Force. Air Force is strictly a volunteer branch of the military. So once you sign up for the Air Force, it's a 4-year tour of duty. And of course, I spent my 4 years. Um, well, some of it was stateside, and of course, some was overseas. I spent some time over in the Philippine Islands, 18 months in the Philippines. And of course, the remainder of my tour of duty was stateside. I spent, of course, my basic training months were spent in Texas, San Antonio, Texas, and of course, the last part was in Louisiana.
Okay, and Mr. Sharp, where were you living at the time when you volunteered?
Um, I was still in Tennessee. That's where I was raised, and I grew up in Tennessee, and so I enlisted in the military in Dyersburg, Tennessee. That's my hometown.
Okay, and why did you join?
Um, Basically to serve my country. Um, I'd been going to school, uh, going to college, and of course, that's really where I got a sense of wanting to join the military. When I was in college, they had an ROTC program there, and of course, I was enrolled in several of the classes there. They called them Air Science classes, and it was the Air Force that had the ROTC. And so, after taking all those classes, I became quite interested in the military lifestyle, and so I said that once I finished college, I would join the military, and that's what I did.
Okay, and why did you pick this particular branch of service to join?
Well, as I said, when I was in college, they had an ROTC program, which was the United States Air Force ROTC program, and so that pretty much it seemed like an adventurous type of military branch of service, and so I thought this was an opportunity to get out and see the world and perhaps learn a trade that I could use in my civilian life once I got out of the military.
Do you recall your first days in service?
Yeah, quite. I remember Leaving Dyersburg, Tennessee, we had to go to Memphis, Tennessee, for the processing. And so I had to take a Greyhound bus to Memphis, and of course, they gave us a physical and all that. And after we had the physical, and then we ended up leaving and going to San Antonio, Texas. That's where they conducted the basic training for the Air Force.
What did it feel like, you leaving home and going into your first days of service?
Well, it was strange. It was a little different leaving home, and the security of home will always kind of frightened me. But I felt like I was back then. I said I'm a big boy now, so it's time for me to get out on my own and do my own thing. And so that's what I decided to do. I didn't want to still be under the wings of my parents, and so I felt like it was time for me to really do something on my own, learn something that would be beneficial, and get an opportunity to get some discipline and to see the world. And that's basically why I did that.
Tell me a little bit about your boot camp or your training experience initially. Was it tough? Did you have, what about the people, the captains or whatever that was over your unit? Were they tough on you, and how
Oh
they
yeah,
treat you?
yeah, they were pretty tough. I remember when we first got there, we all had on our civilian clothes, and of course they had us all to line up, and then we marched. I guess it was about 30 or 40 of us that all came in, all different nationalities, and back you talking about in the early 60s, mid 60s, where people had that long hair and all that stuff, and I think I had gotten a fresh haircut, and I don't know why I did that, because once they got us in there, then they cut everybody's hair off. And so I'm thinking about a lot of the guys that had the long locks and the big afros and all that, and they put them in there, and they zipped the hair off right quick. But it was funny to see us all marching around. We all had on our civilian clothes, and they used to call us rainbows, and that was a name that they gave all the people who were new coming into the military. They were called rainbows because they were easy to spot, because you had on your civilian clothes, and everybody else had on the military outfits. But basic training was interesting. It was fun. I felt like once I completed basic training that I was probably in the best condition that I had ever been in my life, because you do a lot of calisthenics, you do a lot of exercise, and you do a lot of hand-to-hand combat. They train you to shoot the rifle, and of course, so it was a lot of it was interesting. And I remember one incident where we had to learn how to make up our beds. Of course, that is always the big issue, making the bed and keeping that bed made up properly. Because the sergeant, when he came in, he wanted to be able to drop a quarter on that bed and let it bounce up and you catch it. Your bed is supposed to be that tight.
Wow.
So,
Oh my goodness.
but I tell you, a funny incident that happened. He had been on everybody about the beds. He kept telling everybody that the beds were made up properly. We thought we had the beds made up. And so one day we went out on a training mission where we did our calisthenics, we did our marching, and we went and did our exercises. So when we came back to the barracks, soon as we walked up, we saw beds in the front door and just scattered everywhere. The sergeant had warned us that we weren't doing it properly, and so he tore up all of the beds and threw them downstairs. All the people that were upstairs,
Oh my
he threw them
goodness.
downstairs, and so we all had to redo our beds because we didn't have them as tight as they should have been. But that was a funny incident.
I bet that never happened again, huh?
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Everybody was those people who knew how to make the beds would come around and show the other guys how to do it properly. And I remember one incident in basic training, they actually shoot live ammunition over your head. So you're down on your stomach and you're crawling, and they have this live ammunition fire over the top of your head. And so you have to stay down, because if you raise
Wow.
up,
You would definitely get shot, huh?
wouldn't that the truth?
How did you make it through this time, basic training?
Oh, it was just the will. It's just the will. Nobody wanted to be the one that didn't make it. And so you did everything within your power to maintain your conditioning and to do what you needed to do to survive and make it through basic training, boot camp. Um, and everybody would encourage you, and the sergeant would be up in your face, and he'd chew you out, and he'd say things like, "Your mama's not here now, so you got to do what I tell you to do." And some of the guys would be crying and all that, but I think in the long run, it paid off for the majority of us, because it gave us the discipline and the will to survive, and so that's what military life is all about. Because when you're out there, when you're actually in combat, you don't really have anybody to tell you what to do or that. You just have to follow instructions and do what you need to do.
Do you recall the name of any of your instructors or
No, not
that
right
time?
off. I just remember one was a sergeant and one was an airman first class. The sergeant was the big man,
Uh-huh.
and of course, in the airman first class, he was, like rank under him. But the sergeant always gave us the most hell, so to speak.
Okay. Let's talk about your experience now. Which war did you serve in?
I was during the Vietnam era. I went in 1963 through 1967. So um, it was right at the very beginning of the Vietnam era. I didn't go over and serve in Vietnam as it was, but I did have several of my friends were sent over to Vietnam. In fact, two of my homeboys got killed in Vietnam.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Where exactly did you go?
I was stationed in the Philippine Islands, Clark Air Base, Philippine Islands. I spent 18 months there, and well, I remember when I first got there, it was hot. That place was hot, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the 18-month tour. I always say that I would love to go back to the Philippines, although I haven't been back
Hmm.
during that time.
So it's a beautiful country,
Hmm.
basically.
Basically, yeah. The weather was beautiful. I don't think it got cool, maybe 55 or 60 or something like that. But and they had like two seasons. They had the dry season and the monsoon season, where it
Mm-hmm.
just rained constantly and
Mm.
stuff would get mildewed, but and that was like October, November, December. Around in that time was when it was a rainy season.
What was your assignment?
I was a military policeman when I was in the Air Force. Um, I completed my basic training at Lackland Air Force Base, and then once I completed that, then you are assigned a particular duty or responsibility, and mine was as a military policeman. So I had to continue to remain at Lackland Air Force Base to get my training for the military policeman. So it was really like a police academy, so to speak, because they took us through. Uh, we had to do hand-to-hand combat. We had to do judo, and we had to direct traffic, learn how to direct traffic. We had to learn how to fire a pistol. And of course, we had already trained in basic on how to fire the rifle, but we had to learn how to fire the 38 weapon. And of course, I was basically, I did what they call base patrol, and I did security patrol. And with the base patrol, it's just like a regular policeman where you direct traffic or you would write tickets or what have you, or if there were any kind of domestic incidents, then you would go to the person's house. But also, I did what they call security, uh, which dealt with guarding a lot of bomb sites. I had to guard airplanes. I had to guard various nuclear sites and that sort of thing. And there was two parts to being a military policeman. You had like I said, the base policeman, and then you had the security police.
Okay. You already mentioned earlier that you did not actually see any combat. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. You said that you do know some people that were in your basic training unit that more or less, they did not survive this particular war.
Well, they weren't actually in my basic training
Uh-huh.
class, but they were in the military during the time that I was
That you were there,
in
okay.
the 4 years that I was in the military, and so they were had been sent overseas, and that's where they were killed over in Vietnam.
Can you tell me anything about your most memorable experiences while you served in the Vietnam War? Anything that really stands out?
Well, not really.
Any incidents that happened while you're on assignment? Or?
Well, I know that we always had to we had to guard these bomb shelters they called them, and we always had to be out there at night. It was just so quiet, and you know you weren't supposed to talk to anybody. Actually, you weren't that close to anybody. It was just you and your radio, and you had to turn your radio down real low. If you all you only light you had was like a flashlight, so you were out there in the dark all night long with nothing but crickets and mosquitoes and stuff. So, but that was an experience. I think about that a lot.
Were you awarded any medals or citations during your time in service?
Yeah, I think I had quite a few medals, well, awards. They give you all kind of ribbons and stuff, but I can't remember exactly what they were for. It seemed like once you complete a certain type of training, you got a ribbon or something. And one thing about being a policeman is that you have to qualify, and you have to qualify at a certain level. They have what they call marksman, then you become a sharpshooter, and then you're an expert. And so they wanted the military people to qualify as experts. And so every time you qualified as an expert, they'd give you this award, this paper award, saying that you were a marksman, or you were a sharpshooter, or you were an expert. So they did give you quite a few ribbons and things of that nature.
Okay, Mr. Sharp. I'm going to ask you some questions now pertaining to your life and during the time you was in service. How did you stay in touch with your family?
Well, there were a couple of ways. Basically, we communicated by writing letters. I wrote letters back and forth to my parents. And then there was another way that we communicated. It was like a telegram that we could go to this particular site that was on the base and write this message like a telegram, and it would go to like a ham radio operator in my hometown, and they in turn would deliver this message to my parents.
Oh, that was interesting.
Yeah.
Did
And
you
it
ever
was
use
pretty
that
nice.
method?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I used it quite a bit.
All right.
Mm-hmm. And then people, it was like this record, it was like a radio shop, and they became very close to my family because
Okay.
I'd sent so many messages
Okay.
that way.
What was the food like?
Oh, the food was great. That's one thing I
Yeah.
said about GI food. There was I think I learned to eat a lot of food that I never really liked or had never tried before. And so the thing about military food is that you can eat as much as you want. You just take your plate back, and but you have to finish everything on your plate, and then you go back, and then they'll fill it up. You tell them what you want, and they'll fill it up. And then I learned to eat this breakfast meal. They called it SOS, something on the shingle that they used to call it. Really, it was cream of beef, chipped beef. But they used another term that I won't say it. I think most military people know what I mean when I say it was SOS, something on the shingle.
Okay.
But that was good, and we used to eat that on toast, and I'd have eggs on that, and so that was. You could always count on that every day for every breakfast. You'd have that SOS.
Oh, wow.
Well, that food was good. You get three, as they say in the military, you used to get 3 hots and a cot. So, That's one thing about that. You didn't have to worry about no food.
Food, okay. Did you have plenty of supplies?
Oh yeah, yeah. We had plenty of supplies. We had we had our uniforms because we had boots, and if your boots got to a certain level, all you had to do is take those boots back to the supply, and then they give you a new pair of boots. So and that's just the way it worked out. Same way with your weapons. When you go out on duty, you'd have to have a weapon. So I'd have to have a 38 and then a rifle. So I had a rifle and a 38. You'd have your little club, and so then you had to have your additional ammunition and that sort of thing. And then one thing about that, about the military too, is I learned how to drive a stick shift vehicle.
Wow.
I never knew how to drive a stick shift until I got in the military. So that paid off by being in the military. Although I haven't driven a stick shift
Shift since then? Wow. You think you remember now how to?
Oh, yeah.
It'll come back to you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real easy.
Do you feel like you were ever under any pressure or stress while you were in service?
No, not really. I think, to me, about the only pressure I saw was when you had to work that midnight shift and you had to stay awake. That, to me, was always a killer dealer. And because we had a funny schedule where you would work like 3 days, where you would work from 7:30 to 3. Then you'd be on 24 hours. Then you'd work 3 days of 3 to 11. Then you'd be off of that. Then you work from 11 to 7 for 3 days. Then you'd have 3 days off. So that was kind of a pressure schedule because you never could get really good sleep like you wanted to. But I never felt really a whole lot of pressure in the military.
Okay. Was there anything that you did in particular, being so far from home, knowing, as far as your values and your beliefs, was there anything that you did in particular to keep yourself in a state of mind that you're going to be okay, or, through prayer, or anything for good luck, or, what did you do, basically?
Well, we all went to church. They had chapel there on the base, especially at basic training. We all had to go everywhere together. And in basic training, we went to chapel. My mother gave me I never forget, I still have that. She gave me a testament. The New Testament, she gave me that to carry with me. And of course, when I got in the military, they also gave you a little small Bible to carry. And so it was an individual thing, whether you continued to go to church wherever you were stationed, whether you were on your primary base or whether you went overseas someplace, then it was up to the individual. So that's basically what I did. I went to chapel.
How did people entertain themselves, or how did you entertain yourself while you were
Oh,
in
there were several ways. On the base, they had what they call an NCO club, which is a non-commissioned officers club. And of course, they had all kinds of entertainment for us. They have some of the people that lived off base, some of the natives, I guess you could say. It doesn't sound right to say natives, but yeah, in a way, they are natives of that country. That's what I mean. They would come to entertain, sit with the GIs, maybe have a drink or so. And then, of course, the military itself would put on live performances, have different people come in to do live performances. And so we either went off base for our entertainment, downtown, so to speak, or we stayed on base and went to the NCO club for our entertainment.
Do you recall any of the special entertainers that they brought in, the celebrities or anything to entertain you all while you were in service?
No, not all. I can't think of any celebrities. It's just usually most of the people that were like natives of that particular country or that city.
What did you do during your leave time when you were on leave? Did you ever go on leave, or?
Oh yeah, we had quite a few leaves. Usually before we went overseas, we'd maybe take like a 30-day leave or something like that, and then I just go spend it with my parents.
You would go home.
Um, and I think I saved most of my leave when I was overseas, and when I came home, then I took like another 30-day leave.
Oh, okay, so they gave you a lot of time to spend with your family.
Oh yeah.
Right. While you were here, so you just came home, which was nice. I'm sure they were happy to see you.
Oh yeah.
Now, tell me about the different places you travel, other than going to the Philippines. Any other places that you traveled while you were in the military or while you were in
Well,
service?
I was stationed at England Air Force Base, which is in Alexandria, Louisiana, and of course, Lackland Air Force Base, which is outside of San Antonio. So those are basically the only places that I visited when I was in the military. It was just in those towns. I had opportunities to go to New Orleans or Baton Rouge or some places when I was in Louisiana, but I never did. And even when I was in the Philippines, I had opportunities to go to Manila, which is like the capital, and I never went. But I just kind of stayed around the barracks or stayed around the base.
Did you all, as far as other servicemen, what did you all do as far as basically to keep morale up? You know, as far as did y'all amuse each other in any type of humorous ways, or like pull pranks or something, or jokes on each other?
It was basically play cards. Yeah, I guess we did kind of put shaving cream. People were sleeping or something like that. We put shaving cream on them in their hands or something like that. And they'd make it seem like a fly, something flew on their head, and then when they go try to block the fly away, then they put that whipped cream in their face or eyes or whatever. But yeah, we used to do all kind of crazy stuff that I don't think would be appropriate.
Say now you think about it, right?
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's wild and crazy things.
Okay, and Mr. Sharp, do you have any photographs? Do you have a photograph?
Yes, I have a picture that I took when I was right out of basic training of me, right after I completed my military police training that I have. I have that. But I don't have any other photos of any of my former colleagues or anything like that. I just never. I guess I took pictures, but I just don't recall saving them all. Whatever happened to them over the years? It's been like 40 years, so there's no telling what happened to those pictures.
Do you have any thoughts about the officers or your fellow soldiers that served with you, about the officers?
Well, I felt like I could have made a little bit more rank, but but it's up to them to evaluate you. It's just like in civilian life; they do their evaluation. I thought that I did everything that I needed to do to achieve certain ranks, but never really achieved the ranks that I thought I was qualified or capable of achieving. But other than that, I don't have any bad feelings, any harsh feelings about any of the officers or non-commissioned officers that were over me or whatever. But my military tour was quite interesting, and I've learned a lot. It's paid off in my civilian life, in that it's given me the discipline and the desire to do things. So to be better and not just be satisfied with just mediocre stuff. So.
Did you keep any journals or personal diaries while you were in the military?
No.
Let's talk a little bit about your after service. Do you recall the day your service ended?
Not really, but I just know I was glad to get out. It was June of 1967. Sometime during that month, you get closer and closer. That's the time, like that 2 or 3 months before your actual discharge date. You're real excited because everybody's calling you a short timer, meaning that you only have just a little more time left in the military, and you say, I'm not gonna do anything for like a month. Just relax before I actually get out there in the civilian life and try to find a job or whatever.
Where were you when your service ended? Where were you located?
I was in Louisiana.
Louisiana?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, Alexandria, Louisiana, England Air Force Base. I don't even think that base is still there anymore.
What did you do the days or weeks after your service ended?
Well, I just basically came home and just had a good time and enjoyed that, and then uh, immediately after that, I decided I was going to go to Cleveland, Ohio, to live with my uncle. My uncle, he was single, so I felt like I'd go up there and find a job and get started.
Okay, so you went to work. You didn't go back to school. You just decided you were gonna.
Right. Um, I said I was going to enroll in school up there, but I never did. So I had an opportunity. I could have used my GI Bill, but I never used it. I started one time when I was living in Florida to use it, and then I just dropped out for that because you have 10 years to use that GI Bill for education, and if you don't use it, then you lose it. And I never used it, and so I lost it. I don't regret that, but things happen.
Did you make any close friendships while you were in service?
Yeah, I made quite a few friendships, but again, I still don't remember these guys' names or where they live now or what they're doing. You know, I think about this now. I should have been in more contact with these guys. But I guess if I pursued it, I could probably track some of these guys down.
You still remember their names? Some of them?
No, I'd probably have to look on one of my set of orders or something that I have at home. Some old orders would have everybody's name on it, and that way I remember the names and try to track it down over the internet or something like that.
Did you join any veterans organizations after your end of service?
I was a member of the American Legion. In fact, I think I'm still a member, but I never really got involved. I just sort of enrolled, and they sent me a lot of magazines and stuff, but I never really participated in this thing. I think that's something I should get more involved in.
Did you go on, what did you do as far as career after the war ended? What did you go on to pursue as a career?
Well, I think a lot of people thought that I'd probably be a policeman. And a lot of guys who got their training while they were in the military wanted to be policemen, and some of them actually did become policemen. But that really wasn't what I wanted to do. In fact, when I went in the military, I had signed up to learn more about computers. That's what I wanted to do, and that's why I was in that particular career field. See, there were a list of jobs under a particular career field, and that included computers and military policemen, medics, and I think there was some 3 or 4 others. So at the time when I went in, Uncle Sam said, the needs of the Air Force come first, and we need you as a military policeman more so than as a computer whiz or whatever. So we're going to make you a policeman. And so that's how I happened to come about being a policeman. But it did give me the strength to want to pursue a career in business, and that's what I wanted to do. Really, actually, I wanted to be a disc jockey. That's what I wanted to do. And so when I did get out, I went to Cleveland, Ohio. That's when I first went to a broadcasting school to learn how to become a disc jockey. And I pursued that career for about 10 years and got out of it and got into the business field with Bell South.
Okay, you said you were a disc jockey. You said it was in Cleveland, Ohio?
Well, that's where the training for becoming a radio announcer occurred. But I really started doing my DJ radio station in Florida, near Orlando, Florida. It was in Apopka, Florida, and I was a disc jockey there.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about the war or about military in general?
Well, yeah, it does. I mean, it tells me that in order for us to continue to have the freedoms that we have here, we need a military. We need to be able to protect our homeland. We need to be able to protect our families, and that's what the military is all about. And I believe in it. My sons have all been in. My uncle was in the military. My father was in the military, and so my cousin, female cousin, was in the military. So the Sharp family, as I look back and think about it, we've all served, and we've all done our part. Of course, there have been some members of the family that didn't serve, but for the great majority, now that I think about it and I look back, there's quite a few of us who have pursued careers in the military, and I think it's been a great contribution for the Sharp clan to be in the military, have spent time in the military. And as I said, we need to continue with our freedoms, and that's the best way is to have the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, and the Marines out there fighting for us.
How did your service and experience affect your life overall at this point? Do you feel how has it affected you, your service?
Well, for one thing, like I said, it gives me the discipline. Discipline that I need in my everyday life to do what I need to do to survive, to make the best for my family, to make the best for myself, and for all involved. So the military has provided me a good outlook on life, a positive outlook.
Is there anything you would like to add that we have not covered in this interview?
I just want to mention a couple of funny incidents. I made some notes here. One of the funny incidents happened in basic training, and I guess most of the guys who've been in the military will understand. I'd probably laugh at this, but I remember I had been in basic, I guess maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and so the sergeant came in and told us we were going to have a party. And everybody was happy. We're going to have a party. And we're going to have a GI party. So everybody was all smiling and laughing and grinning and carrying on and excited about this party. But little did we know what a GI party really was. We ended up having the wax floors and stuff like that, and we used clear polish, and we had to use clear shoe polish, and we had to actually get down on our knees out of these little small cans of shoe polish and actually wax the floor like
Oh my
that.
goodness.
That was a GI party. But that was a funny incident. And one other little funny incident that happened was my aunt knew that I loved German chocolate cakes, and wherever I went, she would send me a German chocolate cake. When I was off to school, wherever I was, she sent me one to the Philippine Islands from Dyersburg, Tennessee.
Oh my
I never forget. When I got that cake and opened it up, it had ants all in the bottom of it. But do you know, I took those ants out, scraped off that icing where the ants were, and threw that stuff in the trash, and cut that cake and passed it out. Everybody had a piece of that cake. To this day, these people don't know that cake had ants on it except me. But we ate that cake. But that was one funny incident that happened. But to those who are listening to this, I just want to say that my military experience was very enriching. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it. In fact, I still have my uniform.
Wow.
I still have my duffel bag. I still have my combat boots. I still have my fatigues, my old fatigues, and I can get in them.
You can still wear them?
Still wear them.
Wow, you
All
stayed
these
in
years.
shape.
Yeah. So I was honorably discharged in 1969, and after you spend 4 years of active duty, and then you've what they call 2 years of inactive reserve, and so it's a total of 6 years that you complete. And so I got my little honorable discharge, and I'm just so excited about having that, and that's it.
Well, Mr. Sharp, on behalf of Bell South Pioneers, Southside Council,
Uh-huh.
I would like to thank you very much for sharing your recollections of your military service with us, and also for us to record this interview so that it can be um, in place in the Library of Congress, so that other people will have the opportunity also to go back and listen to your experiences and your life in the military. Again, thank you very much, and I appreciate this time that you've given us for this
Well,
interview.
Miss Magwood, it has been indeed a pleasure for me to share with those individuals who will listen to this message, and anytime I can be of any assistance, further assistance, feel free to give me a call. Don't hesitate to call. Thank you.
Thank you.